Do not subscribe to this video unless you're super confident that after watching this video you gained one or two things to take away. Hello. Over the past few years, I have been fortunate to work with organizations and even start my own corporations where I interact and tutor business leaders and founders or executives of different organizations. In fact, yesterday I was on a meeting with a founder of a law firm here in my city, Jos, Plateau State, Nigeria. While spending time with him, I was able to look at him closely and I figured that this man was a man of leadership qualities I needed to emulate in my future endeavors starting from today. So, although I have had experience to work with leaders, I do not want to solely give this video or create my lessons on this video from my personal experiences with leaders. I would like to fall back on the ultimate guide to leadership, which is the Bible, right? So I would quote in biblical examples from the Bible of some of the best leaders you could emulate after. Now, do not forget what I said at the start of this video. Do not subscribe to this video unless you're super confident that you have gained value while watching this video. Now, the first important quality of a good leader is humility. Alright. A good leader is humble, recognizing that the authority comes from God and not their own strength. A biblical example of a good leader we all hear about is Moses, described as meek. Numbers chapter 12 verses 13 tells about Moses that Moses was a very humble man, more humble than anyone on the face of the earth. This is what Numbers 12 verses 3 says about Moses. And Exodus chapter 3 verses 14 says, I am who I am. This is what you are to say to the Israelites. I am has sent me to you. Now this is a very amusing thing because Moses is one out of very few who have been recorded in the Bible to have had personal encounters with God. First, we know about his personal encounter with God in the form of a burning bush. Now, assuming I was Moses and I had met God, I think that unless the grace of God dwells upon me, I would be a very arrogant and pompous man. And anyone who tries to confront me, I will tell them, do you know who I am? Do you know that I have met God face to face? This is how some of our leaders are today. They have been fortunate to start up their own organizations. Maybe you have scaled 10 startups and you have made $100 millions in your life, in the period of 1 or 2 years, and this has built a lot of confidence in you about your abilities and capacities. But has this cost you a very important quality of humility? Have you become pompous? Are you lacking humility in your daily affairs? Now, the second quality of a very important leader is, of a successful leader rather, is servant leadership. A successful leader has to choose to serve rather than to be served. And no other person has shown this more than Jesus Christ did. Now, the thing about servant leadership here we say is a good leader serves rather than seek power and prestige. And the biblical example, Jesus exemplified servant leadership when he washed his disciples' feet. In John 13, verses 14, let's hear what Jesus tells his disciples. He says, now that I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also should wash one another's feet. This does not mean that you have to walk into your corporation with a bowl of water and begin to wash your employees' feet. No, that does not mean that. It means that you can serve them. And this is a very important question I would like to throw to you watching this video is, how do you think you can be a servant leader in your organization and to the people who work for you or work with you rather than seek to be served? If you've thought about it, you can leave it in the comment section. If at this point you feel like you have gained anything, please subscribe, like this video, and stay with me till the very end, okay? Now, the third important quality of a good leader is a good leader seeks wisdom from God to make sound decisions. A good leader seeks wisdom from God to make sound decisions. A biblical example is Solomon. Solomon, when given the opportunity to ask for anything, Solomon asked for wisdom to govern God's people. Now, there are other biblical examples, like in the book of Acts, where God tells his disciples to choose amongst them men who are honest, God fearing, and full of wisdom. Okay? You know that wisdom has been repeated over and over. A leader has to be a wise one. A leader has to be a wise leader. And if you do not think that you're a wise leader, luckily the Bible also says that if any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask God who gives without reproach. Alright? The book of John. I would like you to ask God for wisdom in the comment section. You could write, "Dear God, grant me the gift of wisdom like you granted to Solomon, so that I can lead like Solomon lead in wisdom." All right. The fourth is courage. A good leader faces challenges with courage. I would like to go this way so that you could see the board. A good leader faces challenges with courage, trusting in God's strength. Courage is a very important quality of a leader, because without courage, you can easily be persuaded and easily be defeated or shaken down. A good leader has to be courageous. Now, the biblical example is Joshua. After Moses died, Joshua was tasked with leading the people into the wilderness. And I would like to read what God tells Joshua after he had assigned him this task. And God said to Joshua in Joshua chapter 1, verse 9, "Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. For the Lord your God will be with you." I want you to write this in the comment section and make it your mantra for leadership, for being a courageous leader. I'll read it one last time. "Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you." And you have to believe it. Okay? Now, I just looked at courage as the fourth important qualities of a successful leader. The fifth is integrity. A good leader is honest and upright. A good leader is honest and upright. I just gave you an example of the book of Acts, where God tells the disciples to look among them and select men of honesty, God-fearing, and wise character. So, what I will do here is to use Daniel as an example of a leader who had integrity. Daniel served with integrity in a foreign land. Daniel 6 verses 14, verses 4 tells us about this. Now, at this, the administrators and satraps tried to find grounds for charges against Daniel and his conduct of government affairs, but they were unable to do so. They could find no corruption in him, because he was trustworthy and neither corrupt nor negligent. If you are to be investigated today, if you are to be scrutinized, right, would you be found wanting in corruption and negligence? That's a very important question to ask yourself. If your answer to that is yes, then you have to work on yourself and get rid of every tendency for corruption or dishonesty in your leadership style and quality. Now, the sixth, which is the last one, is accountability. Before I would like to go further and conclude on accountability, I want to ask you a question. Have you gained anything from this video? Do you support these qualities of a leader to be the right qualities for leadership? If yes, leave yes in the comment section. If no, please keep scrolling. And if yes, once again, please hit the subscribe button so that you get to see the next video I'm about to upload. Now, 6 is accountability. A good leader takes responsibility for their actions and seek accountability. Biblical example, Nathan and David. When Nathan confronted David about his sin with Bathsheba, David was accountable and repented. Now, I asked a question in my fifth, when I was talking about the fifth quality of a good leader, which was integrity. And I said, if you are to be investigated or scrutinized today, would you be found wanting in corruption and negligence? If your answer was yes, then do not condemn yourself, because just like David here, you can take accountability, repent, and change from corrupt ways. So I would like to read what the Bible said, or what David said rather, in 2 Samuel chapter 13. He said, "Then David said to Nathan, I have sinned against the Lord. I have sinned against the Lord." You might have done wrong to your employees, you might have conducted your affairs with corruptions in your heart or with negligence, but if at this point you believe that it is not too late, which I very much believe it is not too late to take a new leaf, David realized he was sinful and he apologized. Although he had to deal with the consequences of his action, he was honest and willing, and he accepted the consequences after 7 days mourning his child, right? How are you going to account for all the wrongs you have done in your leadership qualities? Would you be willing or big enough to apologize to the people you've hurt? Would you go to God in prayer and seek forgiveness so that when you step out next time you will be able to do better? Or would you hide away and shy away from your sins and continue to do them? That is a very bad decision to make. So, I believe this is the 6 important qualities of a good leader. You must have learned each one of them. And if your answer is yes, please hit the subscribe button so that you get notified every time I make another video. Once again, my name is Panshak John, and I love that you took your time to watch this video. See you in the next one. Okay, bye.